Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the movie Battleground. I am your host tonight, Robert the Hobbit Parker. And man, the first half of this video, if you have not seen it, it was pure chaos. It was amazing, amazing, great fights, great Star Wars passion. Please go check out that video if you haven't, because man, it is an amazing one. But that is not why we are here. We are here for the epic conclusion of our Star Wars movie Battleground. With me, I have 3 competitors remaining. We started out the night with 5. There are only 3 left. Let's introduce them right away. Tim Smith, how you doing tonight, Tim?
Pretty good. Glad to be back. Can't wait to get this going, and may the best man win out of us, I guess.
Alrighty, awesome. And Chance, how do you feel? You were the first person to get into the next rounds every single time so far. So how you feeling?
Fun. This is good. It's all good fun. I'm glad to see that is in round 3 with me.
Alrighty, and speaking of him, Chris Doman, how are you doing, man?
I am doing very well. Look, yes, obviously we make this competition, and of course, Chance and I have our rivalry, and I shall not be denied. But look, this is all in good fun, and we're just here to support the best franchise ever. So
awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So once again, for those of you watching, if you have not already, please check out part 1 to this video, where these 3 were joined by Matt Beer and Mark Borge in an awesome, amazing fight. It was the start of a 5-way, and man, it was intense. So please check that out. And now I'm going to introduce our guest judge for tonight. He's a very special friend of the channel, the head of There Will Be Trivia and co-founder of Worldwide Movie Games Network. He is Henry the Punisher Sanchez. Henry, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. The first round was very intense and it was a lot of fun. I was very impressed with a lot of the performances and some of the answers. They weren't always cliche answers. We got some ones that you wouldn't expect, and they were defended really well. So this is going to come down to the wire, I assume, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Absolutely. So, for those of you who are watching, we're going to run this next round as a normal three-way triple threat format. So these 3 players will engage in a 5 main round game questions. The 2 players with the most points at the end will move on to round 4, and the 3rd player is going to be eliminated from the match. Just like a triple threat match, if the round ends with 1 player having scored 0 points of the 5, the 2 winning players will get a 3-way knockout bonus. And if 1 player scores all 5 points, it counts as a double knockout, and that person automatically wins the game. Alrighty, so any questions for our competitors here right now before we start?
All set.
Ready for the long haul, Dumbin?
ready for the long haul, baby. Let's do it.
Alrighty, so we're going to start with our main round questions. There are going to be 5 of them, and let's start it off with the number 1. What is the best relationship, romantic or platonic, in the Star Wars movies? So what is the best relationship in the Star Wars movies? We're going to start with Chris Doman this time and move to the other side. So Chris, whenever you're ready with your opening arguments, you may begin.
So what makes a good relationship is having one hell of a starting point. And could you have a better starting point than literally having one meet the other in a cell block? I am, of course, talking about Finn and Poe from The Force Awakens. These two, good God, the internet went ablaze over how much it seemed like these two were genuinely in love with each other. But honestly, they're bros. And for once in my life, I'm actually okay with the fact that we have our first pair of bros in a Star Wars film.
Alrighty, definitely a good pick there, Finn and Poe. For Chris, next we're going to go to Tim. Tim, what do you have for the best relationship?
For mine, it was kind of a toss-up, but I want to go with what I thought was the original bros of Han Solo and Chewbacca. Both of these guys, brothers in arms throughout the whole course of their run, best of friends. Even though Chewbacca owed a life debt to Han Solo never treated him any less of a person or a being than himself. They were partners, friends, brothers, all the way till the end, even to Han's death. You could see how emotional that hurt Chewbacca. So for me, the best of friends, Han and Chewie.
Alrighty, definitely a good pick there. And over to Chance, what is the best relationship in a Star Wars film?
Any I could go and choose from, but ultimately I'm going with two people who through thick and thin have stuck by each other's sides. I'm going C-3PO and R2-D2. Now we're not exactly talking about so we're talking about the relationship, and what is more poetic than these two guys meeting when C-3PO is an unfinished droid on Tatooine and going on space adventures for literally 50 years. These guys have been through it all. They've been through the Clone Wars. They've been through the Galactic Civil War. They're even sticking together to this very day during the the reign of the First Order. I mean, these two guys they piss each other off. They fight. They banter. But that's what a good friendship is. It's funny that the most realistic friendship of these movies has happened between two robots. Look at the symbol of friendship in Star Wars. R2-D2 and C-3PO.
Alright, so all three choices have been laid out. Of course, Tim and Chris chose platonic relationships, and of course, Chance went with the romantic one. So,
Wow.
alrighty.
We're off the rails already.
Man, with
Droid sex!
With that being said, what we are going to do is go into an open forum where all three of you are allowed to talk and yell and scream and fight as much as you like, say what you want, supporting your own argument, attacking the other people's argument. You guys are going to have 4 minutes to fight this out in the main forum whenever you're ready.
See, the problem is...
Okay, I feel like with Finn and Poe...
Both of you have actually pretty good choices, as well as I do. So, all right.
With
Finn and Poe, I will say they have not gotten a lot of time to develop that relationship. And they share maybe 7 minutes of screen time before Poe was relegated to, oh, I thought he died, but he ended up on a distant place on the planet. I don't think that's the best relationship in that movie. I think Rey and Finn had a better relationship. I think Rey and BB-8 had a better relationship. I mean, I do like Finn and Poe together. I do think, hey, Reddit had a field day with those two.
Yes,
I feel like grand scheme of Force Awakens, I feel like while I do like that relationship, that's kind of like the third best in that hierarchy.
See, now I will argue that because it's the quality over the quantity. With Finn and Rey, there was a lot of mistrust right away. There was a lot of not even wanting to even talk to them. But with those two, it came so natural, and they honestly just worked off each other so perfectly that yes, that's partially why the internet went ablaze with the whole Finn and Poe, are they the first gay couple in Star Wars debacle? It's because the chemistry was that real between them. And again, to further point, using an example from the film, when Rey and Finn come back from Starkiller Base, what is the first thing that Poe does after he lands? And he goes to tend to his buddy. Exactly.
His buddy.
Well, for all we know. But okay, Sam, you want to get a word in real quick? Just I'm being the nice guy.
Yeah, for all of these choices, they all are very good. I mean, with R2-D2 and C-3PO, through 7 movies, they've been through thick and, 6
and a half.
Somewhat of, I wouldn't even say a half. I'd say a fourth, because R2 doesn't come back to life really until towards the end of 7. And
then by that argument,
but he's still there, and you can tell. And you can tell C-3PO is feeling a great loss because, he lost his buddy, he lost his comrade.
Well, he lost his arm.
Maybe his lover.
He lost his arm. That was the thing.
Yeah. But maybe those things were later. We don't know.
But honestly, too, I saw with the introduction with BB-8 in Episode 7, it was kind of like a R2 version of passing of the torch, because you fell in love with that droid like you did R2, and you saw a little bit of chemistry with BB-8 and C-3PO, just a little bit, but it was still very good as well.
But again, with R2 and C-3PO, you had the history, you have everything they've been through together. No matter how much they piss each other off.
Exactly.
Even with Han and Chewie, you have that history of both of them together made it all. But
Han and Chewie, we never see the most interesting aspects of their relationship. We don't know how they met. We just see is them being buddy.
Yet.
Yeah. We don't know yet, but we know from canon. We know from sources of canon of the life debt of they could have got
Yes,
together.
but that is a detriment to your argument though, because you have to actually explore
Like the
book.
most interesting stuff happens off screen with yours.
Yeah, but in the movie also you see them
And
working
shit, I would
together
argue,
when they
to an
sneak
extent with
into the
3PO and
first
R2.
Death Star.
But I didn't hear Don's point. What was that?
Sorry.
To an extent, like that's also true of 3PO and R2, is that their relationship has been going on so long that we don't know the full extent of their relationship because, like I said, it's been over years and years and years. Whereas with
That's
Finn
true.
and Poe,
If you take into account
you
the
have
prequel movies, you get the whole arc. Like you see how they met, and then you
Yes.
see, you see them buddy, and you see them, you see them split, come back together, and then even after R2 is gone, he's gone into low power mode, or gone to full plot device. You still feel that lost felt in C-3PO's eyes. Granted, they're
And
droids, so
time
they can't
there,
have
we're
feelings.
calling time
but
there
that-
for the
that's
main
still-
round. We're going time there for the main round. We're going to have closing arguments now, so feel free to wrap up all your points in a tight little bow and finish off this question. So we're going to start with Chris.
Finn and Poe are the best platonic relationship in a Star Wars film, just because within the amount of time they've had together, which is one film, they have proven to be a friendship that is instantaneous, that is going to be long lasting, that has said so much about who they are as people and what they look for in a friend. And they both have found that with each other.
Alrighty, definitely a sweet sentiment there from Chris. We're going to go over to Tim for your closing argument.
I mean, with Han and Chewie, you do see a lot of emotional moments of both of them breaking into the first Death Star, doing the right thing, trying to rescue somebody. You see when Han gets frozen in carbonite, you see Chewie's emotion of losing his best friend. And all the way up into Episode 7, Han's unfortunate safety accident, as I like to call it. When he dies, you see that pain and turmoil that goes through his friend. I mean, they were together, even off film, for, 30, 40 years in between Jedi and that. So, yeah, you didn't see it, but still, from Episode 4, 5, 6, all the way to 7, they've been together through the thickest of battles, with the Death Star both times, the thickest and thin of everything, and you saw their emotional bonds with each other through loss, their multiple captures, and unfortunately with Han Solo dying. Spoilers if someone's watching this for the first time.
I don't mind the spoilers. It's 2 years
And
after Force Awakens came out.
You know how people.
And this is a Star Wars match. So
I know, but you know how people can.
I understand.
Spoilers! Everything's a spoiler! Your mother's a spoiler!
All right, and with that being said, we're going to hop on over to Chance. Chance, wrap up this question.
Okay, Finn and Poe, you're getting like the beginning of a relationship. You're getting like the middle and the end. You're not really getting a full. Those are pieces of the meal. They're not the full thing. R2D2 and C3PO, you get the full extent of their friendship from meeting, separation, to ultimately the loss each of them feel. Like when you see R2D2 in low power mode, you can tell C3PO has lost, and also they're so fleshed out despite the fact that they're unhuman. Like so much about C3PO, and even R2D2 has so much personality despite the fact that he never says a word. And the two of them together and the friendship has transcended so much that even the fact that the two actors actually hate each other in real life doesn't show on screen. These two are hands down the best relationship that Star Wars has seen and ever will see.
Alrighty, some strong words from Chance there. This was a great fight, guys. I really like this question personally. I think you guys this is a great fight. You guys may have chosen the three best. Definitely two that I knew were going to come up. I didn't honestly see Finn and Poe coming up, but I think Chris argued it very well.
I didn't see it coming either.
And I am going to toss it on over to our judge, Henry, to have a ruling.
Ooh, looks like he's deep in thought.
So this one's. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we can hear you.
So this one's tough because on paper, Tim should have blew the other two out of the water, but unfortunately, I didn't get enough of like the banter in between and how much fun it is and what it's like to have a couple outlaws and rebels hanging out on this and how they've been through thick and thin and through danger. So I didn't get enough of that, and that bummed me out because that would have been really awesome to hear. Surprisingly, Doman he got a lot of points with Finn and Poe being the unorthodox pick, and Chance he actually finished really strong with the ability to how much personality they have in between them, even though R2D2 doesn't speak, and then the real life differences that they have. I'm gonna have to go with Doman on this one just because he surprised me. Because him and Chance were tied, but because of the surprise factor, I'm gonna give it to Doman on there because he had a uphill battle.
Can I say something real quick though? On to actually my first pick.
Yeah.
C-3PO on the spot. I wasn't even thinking of them until now.
Alrighty, still a great pick, definitely a great fight. What a way to start off the second part of our Star Wars special, and we're gonna head right into the second question. So Chance takes the first point. There are still 4 more to scrape at between all three. Excuse me.
Got the point.
I knew that. Doman is gonna get the first point. I literally wrote Doman on my sheet in front of me. Doman gets the first point. With that, we're going to go into our second question. There's still 4 other questions for you guys to fight amongst yourselves for. And our second question is, what is the best creature in the Star Wars universe? What is the best creature in the Star Wars universe? All right, we're going to start with Tim this time for your opening argument. Tim, when you are ready.
Okay. This was kind of like probably my weakest of all the questions. Hopefully it counts. If it does count, then I can really build from there. But I went with a Wookiee for the best creature around.
Okay, so are we doing sentient creatures?
Yeah, see, that's where I kind of drew the blank on.
I would give that. I would give. Well,
given that our heroes are humans, I think it would be okay.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
a creature. He's foreign.
Wookiee.
He's a foreign object in a sense, as far as like a person. So
yeah.
by the
I would
slimmest
say-
of margins, I
you
would
can't-
let him cross it.
Yeah, you can't talk specifically about like Chewbacca or anything like that, but
No. I
creatures
wasn't.
of Wookiees, I'll take.
Yeah, I was going to talk about the Wookiees themselves, and like that point that Henry brought up, according to with Empire Thought, if you're not human, you're basically nothing. The only one really to change that was Thrawn, but with Wookiees in general, they're some of the strongest creatures around. They're some of the bravest creatures around by fighting for their home against the Trade Federation side by side with the army at the time, and they're also very bonding and trustworthy, as you can see with their many different relationships. And I kind of went there, but that's going to be it. That's going to be it for that.
Alrighty, definitely a little bit of an unorthodox pick from Tim, but one that we're going to accept nonetheless. So we're going to go now to Chance for his opening argument.
Okay, guys. Gungans. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to go Gungans. Are actually Ewoks. Now, I know what you're thinking. Represents one of the biggest downfalls of the original trilogy. But here's the thing, like, Ewok could think of it as a marketing tool, but really what they were to show that, you know, don't be fooled by appearances. Yeah, you go to these planets, you see a bunch of cute little cuddly teddy bears, and then you find out these things can literally rip your face off. I mean, what was the one reason that the rebels were successful in the Battle of Endor? It's because they had Ewoks backing them up, and as opposed to Wookiees, which had little to no bearing on the the story as a whole. Ewoks literally changed the game from the story perspective and from a real life perspective. So yeah, Ewoks are my pick.
All right, potentially a second unorthodox pick there from Chance. Let's see. I think Doman just like
I'll give you $10 if you go porks.
we're gonna go to Doman for his opening statement. Chris, what you got?
You want to know what's amazing, Chance? On paper, you owe me $10. On paper, on what I have on my phone right now, you owe me $10. Is that what I'm actually going to answer? No.
Please.
No.
Oh.
See, now,
Mark's outside weeping. Mark's weeping right now.
exactly. And fuck Mark. I'm kidding. We love you, Mark. The actual best answer is the nightmare-inducing, scary as fuck creature from Jabba's palace known as the Rancor. This thing will rip you to shreds. It will eat you alive. It's basically a brown poop-colored T-Rex. How can you go wrong?
Alrighty, so in this fight we have shaggy carpets, poop-colored T-Rexes, and whatever Chance picked. So, oh yeah, the little teddy bears.
Yeah,
Murder bears.
Murder bears, yeah. So this is gonna be a fight. It's gonna be a fight. You guys are gonna have 4 minutes of open forum. I'm gonna start the clock when you guys start talking.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, essentially what this boils down to something to Ewoks. They are, they're a metaphor for, don't be fooled by appearances. Wookiees are essentially giant dogs. While it looks intimidating as shit, Luke defeated that without the use of the Force and with a rock.
Okay.
I feel like I can outsmart a Rancor. I feel like I can, befriend a Wookiee.
Confined environment, and not to mention that thing ate everybody else that fell into that pit. Why? Because they weren't Force sensitive. They didn't know how to time themselves. They
threw down a guard. They threw down a guard and a dancing lady. I'm pretty sure neither of them are very good with life choices.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that thing is eating literally hundreds of other people because that thing was given to Jabba as a gift.
Yeah, we don't know that. We don't see it. We literally see Ewoks make a difference and prove that no, these little teddy bears can whoop some serious ass.
Okay, the Ewoks were literally created because they were supposed to be Wookiees, but they couldn't be afforded in the budget. So yeah, sorry, no offense, but the shagging carpets are actually way better.
Because with Wookiees,
isn't it better
they do
with the obvious badass warriors? But isn't it better than to go with the obvious badass warriors? To go with these little things that, may look cute and cuddly on the outside, can be some of the can literally bring down an empire.
No,
really?
No,
because
they realistically can't. Those spears could not pierce the armor.
But they did.
I can see
but they
Wookiees
did.
making
In the movie,
more
they
of a
did.
tide in war in a battle than a little
never
teddy
happened.
bear. Really? Episode
We never
3,
saw Wookiees make.
Yes, you did. In episode 3, you saw Wookiees fight alongside on Kashyyyk.
But did they defeat the Empire?
It was right before the Order of 66.
It didn't beat the bad guys. Wookiees made no significant difference within the context of the trilogies.
To be fair, all the Ewoks did was just distract the stormtroopers so the rebels could run inside the base and blow up the base of the shield generator.
Not true.
There's still hundreds of troops still on that base.
Yes.
I'm sorry. The Emperor himself said he had an entire legion of troops. That is thousands of soldiers. You're telling me that
they also
Ewoks murdered all those
because only, I will say this, down by the blaster fire. They got lucky with some of the branching techniques to take down some of the heavy mechs. If they didn't have that, the stormtroopers would have just mowed right through them like any one of us through a tall grass with a lawnmower.
I can make that same point about Wookiees though. Like that's all relative to the situation. And Ewoks did make differences though.
Okay, no, sure, but here's the difference though. Wookiees are technologically proficient. Ewoks, not so much.
Yeah.
They know jack shit about modern day technology. We see Chewbacca doing stuff with technology all the fucking time.
Well, not even in Chewbacca. Go back to Revenge of the Sith. You see, they have technology that they use. Granted, they live in trees, but still.
It doesn't mean a whole lot. Like look at Yoda. He's not technologically proficient pretty much at all, but he's still one of the greatest Jedi in history.
He flew a starfighter. How is that not technologically proficient?
Yeah.
When did Yoda fly a starfighter?
And he knew how to fly an escape pod from Kashyyyk to.
And he flew.
All he had to do was probably push a button, and he's going there.
He flew,
he
a starfighter in the Clone Wars. So, but anyway,
is that canon?
Okay, now the question is, what is the best creature? I will argue the Ewoks and the Wookiees aren't actually creatures. They are races. They are part of the sentient beings of the galaxy. The Rancor is an actual creature that doesn't really think for itself. It is just a basic animal that has to eat, that has to survive, and doesn't really have a sense of
I feel like
self.
the fact that it is a basic animal makes it less scary because I've hunted in the past. I can outsmart an animal. I feel like you put me in that situation. I can outsmart a Rancor. Like Luke did it
And
in like
time
2.5 minutes.
We gotta call time there. Alrighty, so we're gonna wrap this one up with closing thoughts. I believe Tim, you were first, so we're gonna call closing thoughts on Tim. Take it away, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, with Wookiees, I will reiterate, they are technologically advanced. They have shaped the tide of battles. With Ewoks, they're little teddy bears. They got lucky. If they literally be nothing, they'd be cannon fodder, so to speak. Literally, just cannon fodder creatures, and the outcome probably would have been far different. And for the Rancor, I mean, I can't really argue. I'm not even going to argue against that because it actually was a creature compared to the question. So, yeah.
Alrighty. Well, with that interesting closing by Tim, we're going to go to Chris for your closing argument.
Okay. So, again, the question was the best creature in Star Wars? I answered with an actual creature. Other applicants available: the Sarlacc monster, a Bantha, the Reek, the Acklay, the Nexu. I'm sorry, but in my opinion, their choices should not have qualified for this question. However, that was your ruling. That's fine, because unlike the Ewoks, which can make themselves weapons and they can actually prove to be intelligent species, the Wookiees, who are technologically proficient and are even capable of traveling in hyperspace, the Rancor doesn't have that ability. Why? Because it is a simple-minded creature. Hence, why it's the best choice out of your three options.
Alrighty, a strong point there by Chris at the end for his closing. We're going to go over to Chance. What do you think?
Okay, so on Wookiees are essentially just giant dogs. I feel like I can go up to one, pet one. I'm not too intimidated by Wookiee. Same thing with the Rancor. Rancor, yeah, it's essentially just a giant animal, and someone has been hunting. I feel like I can outsmart a Rancor and beat one. Hell, Luke did it in 2.5 seconds, and he didn't have a lightsaber. As far as Ewoks, though, only creature out of these three that have made a significant difference in the movies. And it's so is a great allegory. It's just like, hey, you can be cute and cuddly, but also you can. That doesn't mean you can't be a total badass. Walks are one of the biggest difference makers in the original trilogy, and they go to show you that, you don't have to be a big monster or even a Wookiee or even a Jedi or even someone with a blaster. Fire. That's it for me.
Alrighty, so that was definitely an interesting fight. There was a little bit of clash on whether Yoda flying Jedi Starfighter was canon. It is in Clone Wars. He did fly. Yoda does have his own.
This is Battleground, not TV Battleground, so I'm not acknowledging that.
That's fair, and that's totally a fair point. I'm just saying that technically, yes, it is in the. It's canonical. Yes, it is. I understand that it wasn't in a film, so yeah, this is movie Battleground. You can't really count it, but Yoda is technologically proficient in the universe of the Star Wars canon. Other than that, that's the only really fact-checking thing that I had to clear up there. I'm just going to toss it right over to our judge, Henry. Henry, make a ruling on this question.
So Doman made a mistake that happens a lot when he's worried about semantics. We accepted the answer, and he didn't get actual knocks on it other than the fact that they shouldn't qualify. But for the question specifically, we let him qualify. So I didn't hear enough from Doman for or against the others for him. So that was between, surprisingly, Ewoks and Wookiees. And I think I really like Chance's metaphor with the Ewoks about how they're cute and cuddly, but it's more like don't judge a book by its cover. They can outsmart you. They can they help the Alliance. They were a game changer. And he said like the Wookiees are more like dogs, and maybe you can get away with that. And nobody talked about how you can just outsmart the Ewoks and just pet them. And there's, Tim said you can just kick them around, but for the most part, surprisingly, I'm going to go with Chance and Ewoks.
Oh God, I don't feel good about that one.
Of course. But no, legitimately, I do have it on my phone right now where I said porgs, but I'm like,
should have went for it, man.
no.
Yeah, you should have went for it.
I still want to have my dignity intact.
I wanted to go with the Wookiees, but it was in my head. I'm either going to go with porgs or I'm going to go with the Ewoks. I'm going to have an uphill battle either way.
That was like the weakest I felt for the question, so it was kind of like, oh crap.
Oh, we lost Robert, so we can just talk. We can just talk amongst ourselves.
Yeah, Robert is dead.
Yeah, like it was that one and the Legends question that I felt like least confident on, because like I was so glad I didn't have to fight Legends, because I didn't know shit.
Yeah, I still defend the Yuuzhan Vong. I still like them in Legends,
and don't get me wrong. Like, okay, I like the storyline. But I hate them.
Yeah,
I like what they did. I like what
alive?
happened as a result from them.
it'll
We
probably
are still
go
alive,
off
yes.
shortly. It'll go off shortly though. But I mean, yeah, it's like it was just like because I know there was a lot of problems with that storyline, Chris. So I knew it was going to be a throw out there, but
And dude, I'm not gonna say you didn't give it your damnedest, because I think you did.
I don't know. I think I might have joked around. I would have said Phineas and Ferb, Star Wars now canon. I would have lost, but it would have been a fun answer.
That would have been a very fun answer. And you know what? I actually do like that episode. That's a good one.
That episode, it's one of my favorites.
If anybody's watching us live, what's up, guys?
I don't think he broadcast the thing. I think it's a private stream.
Yeah, it's a private stream. Thank God.
okay.
So I was going to say, sound off in the comments.
What were your guys' backups for any other questions you've answered? Like for the director's question, do you have any backups?
That was another weak one for me. That one. Chris, you have any?
Oh, sorry.
My director backups, I had Brad Bird, Jon Favreau, and Coogler.
Oh, yeah, Favreau.
Cooler. Damn. Oh, Favreau, I could have shot him down. Pretty cool.
Oh, well.
What? Oh, because Iron Man 2?
Yeah.
I loved Iron Man too.
And Cowboys and Aliens.
Okay, I'll give you that
Then I
one.
would have refuted that point that way. Okay, well, Robert's back, so we can get back to.
No, he said he's gonna be right back again. He's gonna ditch us again. He's leaving us.
Oh no, it's probably because he probably can't hear us.
Need to log in the other account so I can actually end the stream.
No, you don't. Not till we're done. Unless it's not working.
Get to the chopper.
Got to the chopper.
Trying to watch some shitty prequels.
Hey.
I don't want to show my cards too soon, just because in case it comes up later.
Oh boy.
Well, I think that is one of the questions still left.
All right.
It is one of them. I'm not gonna show my.
That point.
Surprisingly, Ewoks.
Yeah, surprisingly, Ewoks got the point.
God damn it.
Yeah, I'm not proud of it, but it is what it is.
The other point that Chance got you on was he was like, it's all mystery. You know, you assume that he destroys everybody, but the only real battle you've seen is against a waitress and Luke Skywalker, and he's 1 for 1. So he's 1 for 2. So I mean, his odds are, as a menacing creature isn't that great. And I was like, damn, good point. He's like, you've actually seen the Ewoks, kick some ass.
You've seen the Ewok kick ass.
Well, all right. If you want to see the Ewoks be absolutely useless, just watch Caravan of Courage and Battle for Endor and the Ewoks TV show.
Hey, that's not canon anymore.
You could shoot those fuckers through a cannon. You can put them in a cannon and shoot them.
That's what the Empire should have done. The Stormtrooper should have, even though they can't shoot for crap, they should just load them up and shot.
You guys should have said Jabba. He's a creature.
No,
Jabba's
No.
a creature.
no, Hutts are not creatures. They are sentient beings.
Yeah, well, what was the thing we said we allow it? So you should have said Jabba,
Okay, Henry.
and then just drop the mic.
Henry, is your name Chris Clark? Then no, it doesn't work.
Can I have taken Rathars? Interesting answer.
That was what I was thinking about. That would have been fair game in my book.
The way I take the question, anyone who's not human or humanoid was a creature.
Hey, it worked. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I would have shot down Rathars that they only kill you if the plot asks for it, because they could have easily just chewed the shit out of Finn, but they're like, nah, the plot says no, not yet.
I'm honestly surprised Chris didn't go with the Nilox, or not the Nilox. The
Minox. Problem, not enough time with them.
yeah.
Okay. So we're still live, which is good. I got back in on the right account, so I'm able to stop the broadcast when I need to. Sorry about that. I have no idea what just happened. We found out my computer is still ass.
Okay. Cool.
Luckily for you, I like ass. Hey.
Okay.
All
All right, I have the questions back up.
Okay, cool.
What a story, Mark.
What a story, Robert.
Okay.
Oh, hi, Tim.
Hello.
How's
All right,
your sex
everybody.
life?
What's
All
sex
right,
life?
so-
Three's a crowd.
All right, let's stop making room
Fun
references. And after Chance takes that point with the Ewoks, we're going to go on to question 3 of round 3, where we thought it'd be a good idea to ask, what is the best scene in a Star Wars movie? The best scene in any Star Wars movie. I believe we are starting with Chance on this one. Chance, for your opening argument when you're ready.
A lot of ones I could have picked from. Ultimately, I'm going with the dialogue between Yoda and Luke, where he's telling him about the Force. It's the scene where he says, the whole "do or do not, there is no try." The reason I'm going with the scene is because it's the most powerful scene in Empire, because it makes you, and as far as the Force goes, it makes you understand that something that's in your blood, something that's in your soul, and something that you work and you hone your abilities, that you can actually be a badass Jedi. So I feel like, as far as the Force and lore goes, I feel like this is the most important scene in Star Wars history, and yeah, I think it's the best.
Alrighty, so definitely Chance coming out of the gate swinging with that one as we go over to what's next? Dolman, I guess you're next, right?
Yep.
All right, Dolman, you're second. What
Son
the best
of a bitch. Because on my cell phone, I have the scene right after. I have the scene right after that.
Oh boy.
Well, now honestly, I'm thinking about doing a different answer. The problem is we're essentially fighting the same scene.
We're fighting different aspects of the same scene, so you can pick something else. You can pick it. Like I'll fight it either way. So you go ahead. You decide.
All right.
I would say whatever you pick, just commit.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay, so I'm actually gonna go from what is in the same area of the film, when Yoda raises the X-wing as the ultimate lesson for Luke, because the first thing that he tells him is, size matters not. Judge me by my size to you, and he proves it by lifting a goddamn starship out of the swamp.
Alrighty, 2 fantastic scenes from 1 fantastic movie. I think Tim's pick is going to be really intriguing here. Tim, for your opening argument when you are ready.
Yeah, for that scene that Chris described with the X-Wing scene, that was one of my options. But I went more with, in Return of the Jedi, the battle scene and the dialogue with Luke versus Vader. You finally saw a conclusion of out from nothing, working his way up to believing in himself, believing in his abilities, to finally have that confrontation with his father. And as you saw in what I like to call the scene, the Tree of Wisdom, you see Luke going in, confronting Vader in a form, and he strikes him down. But when it comes to this scene, he has that same opportunity of tapping into his emotions, his anger in a sort of way, fighting Vader, winning. But at the end, when the Emperor says, strike him down, become my new apprentice, he looks at his father, tosses his lightsaber, and says, no, I won't do it. You have failed, Your Highness. I am a Jedi like my father before me. And he showed that he came full circle in that story arc with that scene.
Can I ask a clarification on that one?
Yes.
So you covered 3 parts of a really long scene. Which one are you going to really focus on? The actual fight, the end confrontation, or what? Just so I know what to judge.
Okay, it's going to be more the end confrontation when he beat Vader and the Emperor comes over and starts talking to him.
Okay, so turning away the dark side, right?
Yes, turning away the dark side.
Okay,
yes.
just to be clear, and also so they know what to counter. Thank you.
Yes,
Totally
no problem.
fair.
No problem.
Okay.
Alrighty, so I have the clock ready here. We're going to go into the main forum round. I'm going to give you guys 4 to 4.5 minutes here. The floor is open. Have fun.
Chance, why do you
I
be
feel
so
like-
fucking like-minded with me?
Yeah, well, that's how it goes. Usually you're like enemy as far as mental state, but as
Right.
far as your scene goes, your scene pretty much is this just to show you that Yoda is the real deal. We kind of already had that scene with Luke in his little hut, and Yoda talking to Ben with as a Force ghost. That's just kind of like double confirming it, and really you don't need it because you already know that Yoda is legit. As far as Tim's scene goes,
Do we?
Huh?
No, we don't, because the first that scene, the X-wing scene, is honestly it's the final confirmation that yes, you were trying to say, but everyone is still kind of doubting, like, oh, I don't know if this is really Yoda, because sure, he's teaching Luke all these things, but what can he actually do? He lifts a fucking starfighter out of the swamp, and he does it with just his fingers and the Force.
I'm gonna do this because of my scene, and because of I had to explain the understanding of the Force and that fact that it doesn't matter who you are, you can tap into it. Without my scene, your scene wouldn't be possible because this was building that. But as far as I want to talk about Tim real quick.
Mhm.
Luke sparing Vader. That is arguably, I don't think that's the most interesting part of that scene. I think the most interesting part of that scene, the dialogue between Vader and Luke, when he's saying, like, if I can't turn you, I'll turn your sister. And Luke just starts wailing on it. It's the thing that happens right before your moment.
Oh, definitely. That's easily the most important part of Tim's scene. It's not him rejecting the dark side. It's because by that
Him
point,
giving in.
But it still has that clarification, that ending, that he overcomes the dark side. He triumphs over it and not turning to the dark side, not doing the same failures his father did before him. And I think it's more of a redemption too in I call it the Tree of Insight scene. I know Chris is probably going to yell at me for the actual name of it, but you see him striking down Vader in battle. You see him striking down with a lightsaber. He's not supposed to go in with weapons. He's supposed to just go in there and have his whole experience. But he strikes him down, and in this one, he has that same option to strike him down to kill him, and he chooses to spare him. He chooses to rise above that darkness, that hatred, merciful, and spare Vader, his father, and proving that he is truly of the light side, truly of a Jedi.
But I
fair
feel
enough.
like that
now the thing is,
you already know that Luke is going to reject the dark side. I feel like the more interesting moment is when you feel like he's actually going to give in. You actually feel like he's going to kill his father, and like if the Emperor had not shut his mouth, Luke would have killed Vader, and Luke would now be in a Sith Lord.
See, I don't think so. I don't think he would have, because he hesitated. He stopped when he cut Vader's hand off. He stopped. He sliced his hand off. The hand and the lightsaber went down, and Vader was defenseless, and he stopped. He he yielded. He had Vader beat. He stopped. So no matter what the Emperor saying of strike him down, he wasn't going to do it.
I completely
No, I
disagree with that,
absolutely
because
disagree.
Unless you have the Emperor saying, basically being that voice in his head of, hey, now kill him, like that's when Luke has a stimulus to respond to, be like, oh God, maybe I should think of this through. Kind of like when he has to see Yoda actually do something amazing with the Force in my scene, because, sorry, Chance, your scene is set up for mine. Mine is the payoff, because it's proof to Luke
But
that he's not ready to be a Jedi yet.
But without the setup, your payoff doesn't mean anything. If you saw Yoda out of nowhere just lift that X-Wing with no explanation for it, you'd be like, what the hell? How did this happen? But my scene is very pivotal to your moment happening and being as powerful as it is.
And I'm going to call
we are
time right there. I let you go a little bit over, but that's all right.
God damn you, Tommy.
It's all right.
Chance.
Honestly, I think this is one of the best fights so far. You guys all picked 3 fantastic scenes in the series, in the saga of Star Wars. Really just fantastic. So we're going to go right into closing arguments. I believe Chance started this one out. So Chance, whenever you're ready for your closing argument.
The Luke Vader fight Return of the Jedi is a story of it's a scene of multiple parts, and you picked the least interesting part with him, just saying like, no, I'm the good guy. Yeah, we knew you were a good guy, but it's more interesting when you feel like you're going to the bad side. Dumb and Scene is the payoff that my scene set up. Without this scene, without Yoda telling Luke about the mythos of the Force, you don't have the moment that you do when he does lift the X-Wing. Yeah, it's a great moment, but it's my moment that tees it up, that gives you that pitch, that allows that scene to hit a home run. Home run also, but you owe everything you have in your scene, you owe to my scene.
Alrighty, definitely a very passionate closing there by Chance. We're gonna hop it on over to Chris for your closing statement.
Wrong, Chance. Everything that your scene does owes it to the first Star Wars, where Ben Kenobi first tells Luke about the Force. That's where it all stems from initially. Then you're right, because what's better, a joke with no setup or a setup with no joke? You need the setup, but you also need to have that payoff of Yoda lifting up the X-Wing, because it has to remind Luke, oh shit, this really is my first step into a much larger world. And when Yoda looks Luke in the eye and says, that is why you fail, because you are headstrong, because he is impatient, because he is this kid who thinks he can just whip out a lightsaber and go whoa, 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 and think this is, what being a Jedi is all about. And it's Yoda who gives Luke the pimp slap of a lifetime to remind him, oh yeah, being a Jedi is a little more difficult than that.
Alrighty, definitely not backing down whatsoever in this fight. We're going to go over to Tim to close out this question.
With my scene, it's a culmination of the whole Luke story of starting not believing in himself, and then learning from Ben, learning from Yoda, coming into the final confrontation with his father after the first one on Cloud City, where Vader basically just beat the piss out of him. But he finally conquered that fear of the dark side, that fear of the evil, the anger, and rose above it to prove now an actual Jedi. And he proved that by sparing his father, defying the Emperor, and he proved it. With their scenes, it's just the first part of a scene, then the second part of a scene. Yes, Yoda was strong with the Force, and Luke had to see that for a belief. And yes, that's why he failed. But also, he saw that, but he didn't fully understand why he failed still. And I think that they are good scenes, but it's just one's arguing one half, the other's arguing the other, instead of 2 completely different scenes. At least with this one, it stands on its own merit. And that's it for the closing.
Alrighty, a strong closing there by Tim. This is definitely a strong fight. You guys have 3.
Okay, off the record, can I say something real quick?
Sure.
I'm probably gonna yell at.
You're arguing a third of a scene at best.
All right. Well,
That's all I
I
got.
don't completely disagree with you, Chance. That comment is stricken from the record. It was after the fight
No,
was
I know.
over.
I just want to say it. I want it to be said.
But yeah, that's fair. We're gonna toss it on over to Henry here to get a ruling on this question.
So, Doman and Chance knew what they were getting into when they started this by pretty much picking 2 points, 2 edges of the sword, and I was hoping that I would get some, a punch, a one that stood out from the other. But for the most part, they approached the argument counteracting each other, and Tim didn't necessarily shoot them down and provide counter arguments for himself, but he provided enough arguments in his and let them shoot themselves in the foot. Like you said, the Emperor, shot himself in the foot by kept talking, and that's the approach Tim took. He let you guys just keep talking and weigh yourselves down while he rose up to power. So I'm going to give the point to Tim there.
Okay.
For the record, I agree with that argument. I think Tim argued better than both Chance and Chris did. I think you guys drove each other into the ground.
Yeah, Tim took an angle, and like I said at the beginning of this fight, commit to it. And he committed to his point, and you've unfortunately committed to just knocking each other down instead of raising yourself up, which is fair. I see the rivalry.
We're doing this wrong. We need to take Tim out.
It's too late now. You guys are all tied. You had your one chance.
It's 1 point.
To be fair, like Henry said, I used Luke's own tactic. I'm
Yep.
sorry.
I'm watching you, Tim.
Hey.
I'm watching you.
Which low key rose his argument up even more because it proved it works.
So you guys are 1-1, 1 each. You guys still have 2 questions left to figure out who is getting into what 2 people are going to be slugging it out.
Who's going to speed date?
Yeah, something like that. So you guys have 2 questions left. Let's hear question number 4 for this round. Oof.
From yourself.
It's a tough one. What is the worst moment in a Star Wars movie? What is the worst moment in a Star Wars movie? We started with Chance last time, which means we're starting with Chris this time. Chris, when you're ready.
Wow, boy, I'm about to take some serious flack, but I will defend that this is one of the worst written scenes of the original trilogy. This is one of the worst acted scenes of the original trilogy. This scene makes no sense. Luke and Leia on the pier, dock, whatever the fuck it is, in the walkway on Endor. The main problem with this scene is, for a scene that is trying to do so much, it gives us so little as an important character reveal and as an important moment in the franchise, and it does nothing.
Alrighty, definitely an interesting pick there from Chris. We'll see what Tim has. Tim, with your follow-up, what's your opening statement?
Mine, I chose the forced encounter scene with young Anakin and Padme when they first meet in Greedo, or not Greedo. Guados. Thank you, Chris. In Guado's shop. The forced interaction between Anakin falling. You see the early scenes of falling for Padme, and it just felt so forced, of the cheap pickup line of, "Are you an angel or a space angel?" And it felt so forced for me, and I'm probably just going to lose this one, but I'm just going to end there.
Alrighty, I will say Guado is better than Marla Jade.
Yeah.
God, don't just no.
So Guado's a little more Italian in this concept.
Mark Boris, you know we love you. I'm just poking fun. So Chance, what do you think is the worst moment in a Star Wars movie?
Guado.
Sir, I have a question. I have a question for Doman. Where's Padme? Where's Padme?
That was a rhetorical question, I hope, because you're.
No, it's not. I'm literally asking. Doman, answer the question. Where's Padme? He's not going to answer. Well, see, the response to that is, she was alive. I felt her. No. But the scene I'm picking is the end of Revenge of the Sith, where Darth Vader asks where Padme is, and in response, he just goes, "No." Now, here's a personal story from me. When Sith came out, I was 7 years old.
Let me guess.
I still remember this.
They laughed when they saw this.
remember a packed house. Everybody in the theater laughed audibly. And in retrospect, it's a really sad scene because this was the moment where one of the greatest cinematic villains in history, the greatest cinematic villain in Star Wars, became a goddamn joke. This scene made a mockery of Darth Vader and is an absolute spit in the face to any Star Wars, any original trilogy fan.
Alrighty, Chance is bringing passion on his side. We're going to go into the open forum round as I start the clock when you begin speaking.
All right, you tell me what's the bigger joke, where you have the greatest villain of all time being treated as a quote-unquote joke, or where you have the greatest hero of all time in cinema, Luke Skywalker, revealing to his sister that, oh, hey, by the way, we're siblings, and we totally kissed, and she's like, oh, somehow I always knew. So that's George Lucas basically saying that incest is okay. Awesome.
What scene did you pick again? I forgot. I did take notes.
Luke and Leia on the walkway in Endor.
Okay.
When he reveals that they're siblings. And when
you kind of needed that, and
well,
I
sure,
don't think
you kind of needed that scene. But here's the problem: it is executed so fucking horribly because it's written badly, it's acted badly, it's directed badly. Because this is a scene that needs to be a powerhouse moment. However, does it want to be in that? No, because does Leia have a second? Like, do we actually get to spend time with Leia to be like, oh my god, Luke's my brother. Oh my god, Vader's my dad. Oh my god, like so many big things. And do we get any of that? No, we don't fucking get that because all of a sudden Han has to show up and they have to start cuddling or some shit like that. Which, by the way, look, say what you will about Revenge of the Sith. That scene still works to an extent. All you have to do for make that scene work.
Yeah. Oh, bullshit! No, it does not.
Yes. Well, I will argue, Chris. I will argue on your behalf on this. With that scene, it gives you depth of the tragedy that led with the backstory of Darth Vader.
All you have to do is
it takes Darth Vader, who's a great stoic Sith Lord, and it turns out he is still that little bitch that he was when he, that he was in the prequels. Like, in those that nothing changed, that he's still the whiny little rat-tailed dick that he was throughout the entire that trilogy.
He was just like that like 10 minutes earlier. Of course he's still going to be a little bit like that. But here's the thing. Yeah. Literally, you fix that scene by doing one thing. You cut the you keep the rest of the scene as is. You keep the music.
But they didn't do that. They didn't do that. They kept it in there.
Yeah, but to be fair, your scene's an easy fix. Mine isn't. Mine is an incredibly tough fix because you have to do rewrites. You have to do reacting, redirecting. Shit, with Tim's scene, that's an easy fix. Just get a better kid actor. One who doesn't have to say one who can actually
better kid actor. You need better dialogue, better acting.
Yours is easy fix too. All you gotta do is just show a scene of Leia taking all that in. Like that's it. That's all you have to do. So the logic that you can fix this by taking this out or putting this in, that doesn't matter. What matters is what's in the movie and the fact that the Darth Vader.
I kind of think for the 3 points
he lost his girlfriend, that made him a joke.
You could easily fix that scene. I think it kind of still works as you can fix both of those scenes very easily. With Darth Vader, yes, you just cut out that you could. But you still need that personal tragedy
as far as
to lead you into the Darth Vader of A New Hope.
That's not even the worst scene in that movie. There's now this is pod racing. There's the exploration of midichlorians. There's a ton of stuff worse in that movie than Are You an Angel?
The forced relationship that you saw with the early modes of them two, it was horrible. I hated it. It's so.
But still, it's not. There's still way worse scenes in the prequels. There's still worse scenes in the prequels in that movie.
Leading up to Vader in A New Hope, and with Chris's, you needed that because they needed that coming to realization. Yes, we're siblings.
Yeah, they did need that scene. As far as Chris's scene, that's just more forgettable. Yeah, there's some scenes that hit and miss in Star Wars, but that one, like I forget about that scene. It doesn't hurt me. The scene that physically hurts me is Darth Vader coming out and saying no, because it made Vader instantly less cool than he already was, to the point where the fact that you actually have to ignore everything that happened in those movies to keep the image that he is still a badass in your head.
And time right there. We're calling time. So we're going to go to closing arguments. There is a lot of passion being thrown around in this fight. That's what I like to see. Let's wrap it up in their closing arguments. And I believe we are starting with Chris.
Okay. With Vader screaming no, it's just one elephant in the room. You get rid of the elephant, all of a sudden the scene is goes from a 1 to a 10. You go with Tim's scene. Honestly, if it it actually works actually fine, because you want to know something, a 9-year-old kid who hasn't really had a lot of interaction with people in general, he would talk like that. He would act with that kind of behavior. So that's actually a very understandable and relatable scene. That's like I said, that works great. The scene between Luke and Leia needed to be, honestly, even better than "No, I'm your father." But what did we get? We had a scene that was more forgettable than the fireplace sequence in Attack of the Clones, and that to me is
that was not forgettable,
right? No, and that scene is it's a slap in the face, because we've been with these characters for 3 films now, and we've come across this huge revelation that means nothing. It ultimately means nothing for the rest of the film, because sure, does Vader bring it up briefly? Yeah. Does she bring it up briefly in front of Han? Sure. But does it honestly have, like, does it, and plus, again, it makes the scene in Empire where they kiss look incredibly awkward.
Alrighty, done with your closing there?
Yep.
Perfect. A great closing there from Chris, and we're going to throw it over to Tim for your closing arguments.
Okay. For the scene with Leia and Luke, with the whole interaction, yes, we're siblings, and it being flat, but it still worked just fine with all the other drama and emotion of that whole movie. It's bound to happen where you have one scene that lacks. And the same with Chances. Yes, you had one small step in that scene, but you still needed that support to show what he's going through the rest of the films. And he still needed that interaction of lost everything now. It's all gone. And with mine, it's you had a whole movie trouble, and that scene in the most, you could have easily wrote it better to make it not seem so forced and awkward. With, granted, yes, a child that young without that much interaction would talk like that, but you could still have done it better to not make it so awkward.
Alrighty, a good closing there from Tim as to why he thinks his is the worst moment in a Star Wars movie, and we're going to finish this question up with Chance.
Dawn's moment is just a more forgettable moment. It's not really, it's not super offensively bad. Like in retrospect, looking at Jedi, you don't really think about that scene. You think about all the awesome scenes before you think about that one. Tim's moment, I mean, yeah, it's bad, but there are way worse interactions in that movie, and there are way worse interactions between Anakin and Padme. I hate sand is worse. You torment my very soul. The scene by the fireplace is way worse than that. The reason my scene is the worst in Star Wars history is because it detrimentally hurt the franchise. It made Vader a joke. It tainted your view of the original trilogies. Out of all these 3 scenes, the only one that has fundamentally hurt Star Wars is mine.
No.
And that, all right. Well, a great closing by all of you. We do have one more question after this in the main round, but first, let's hear a ruling from Henry.
So right before Chance started, I thought Doman had it in the bag because he already said that the no scene was easily fixed. You just cut it out, and the fact that a little kid would say that in an awkward situation, and they kind of knocked it down and said that it was needed to have that scene and the shock value if you don't know how to react to that. But the fact that Chance said it taints the view of the original trilogy and how you view Vader. And then how it mocks the legend of Vader, and and it becomes a joke. It's memeable. It spits in the face of the fans.
God fucking damn.
By the slightest of margins, I'm gonna go Chance. But
I'm surprised you guys didn't pick that scene.
Doman almost had that, and he surprised me. But
alrighty, so
save. again.
With that, there is one question left in the main round. With that victory, we do know that Chance will be in the final round battling it out. The question is, he could still get this last question. Then we'd have to do another speed round between Chris and Tim. So we will see. It is down between Chris and Tim, who will join Chance, but Chance could still get this last point. So we will find out. Before we do that, Chance, how do you feel right now after winning that one?
It feels pretty good. I'm surprised these guys didn't pick worst moments, so they were kind of easy to combat.
Yeah.
Come on, baby. You and me.
Careful not to choke on your aspirations. Careful not to choke on your aspirations. That's what made Darth Vader a joke.
But I want Dome in the final round. No offense to Tim, but Dome and I have a thing. So.
Alrighty. Once again, I think the part in Rogue One made Vader more of a joke than in Revenge of the Sith, but that's just me.
Not even close. Not even close.
Alrighty. So with that, I am going to go into our final question tonight. We're going to be starting our final main round question. We're going to be starting off with Tim, as we ask, which character has the best arc throughout the Star Wars movies?
And this was my question too, so.
What character has the best arc throughout the series? Tim, we are starting with you.
I'd have to go with the best arc of all would be, like I argued with my favorite scene, it's going to be the Luke Skywalker arc, because it goes from beginnings of an unsure young adolescence, not knowing his full potential place in the world, to learning of the Force, following in those steps of his father, becoming more confident and sure of himself throughout the series of movies, to finally becoming the Jedi Master we know and love, leading the Emperor, the Empire, and proving that he can rise above the darkness. And I'll cut it there.
Tim comes out of the gates swing. That means we are going to Chance next. Chance, who do you think has the best arc?
I'm debating going with a joke answer because I'm already in the. Nah, I'm gonna go with a serious one. You want to talk about arcs in this movie? What I already argued for earlier in the show. Han Solo.
Bitch.
I thought he was going to say C-3PO.
Goes from self-centered smuggler to rebel to leader. Goes from someone who completely denies the Force to someone who completely acknowledges its existence. When you start in the movies, he sees himself. He's his own man. He's in his own corner of the galaxy. Force a bunch of mumbo jumbo. Then you cut to Awakens, where he has gone through so much that he's just like, yeah, the Force is real. I believe. I have seen some shit. The arcs in Star Wars, the one that is most significant, the one that is most well done, is Han Solo.
Alrighty, also a great pick. Chris, what do you got, man?
Son of a bitch, he stole my line.
Gotta go see about a girl.
Well, literally, he stole mine, so now I have to think on the fly.
Welcome to my world.
Okay.
That was the story of my life with the best relationship question.
Right. What's more impressive? Seeing someone go from a self-centered jackass to a likable dude, or seeing how someone actually manages to go from being a small, lowly senator to literally owning the entire galaxy? Sheev Palpatine, baby. He's to quote the shittiest rapper alive, he started from the bottom, now he here.
Shittier.
All right, an extremely interesting pick there. I can tell we have a fight on our hands. I'm a little bit surprised nobody went with Salacious Crumb. That would have been my personal pick.
That was my joke answer.
No way, was it?
I was literally about to go with Salacious Crumb.
All right, so with that, let's get into this main round. I'm going to give you guys a little bit longer. We got 5 minutes to fight because, hey, it's big stakes. We're going to see who else is going to have the shot. So whenever you guys start talking, I will start this clock.
Okay, the thing about Luke Skywalker is that arc. That's a story of that. That's a 3-arc story. He goes from whiny dick to complete moron two stoic Jedi, and none of them are done particularly well. And like when you look at the grand scheme of the Star Wars movies, sometimes the least interesting stuff happening has to do with Luke's story. So I can't really argue that is the best arc in Star Wars. As far as Palpatine, yeah, he started as a lowly senator, but come on, that's also that's real poorly done arc, because you can tell right off the bat that that dude is so obviously evil. The fact that nobody caught on that trilogy makes that arc completely laughable.
Yeah, okay. You want to talk about laughable? Okay, how quickly Han Solo goes from being this, just totally suave, womanizing jackass to, now I'm a hero. I'm gonna be a good guy. I'm gonna be not self-serving. Yeah, no. Literally 10 minutes beforehand.
No,
10 minutes beforehand. He says,
into-
I'm saying this for the money. But then literally 10 minutes later, all of a sudden now he's like in it for the cause. No, that's not how it fucking
not 10 minutes. No, because you saw him build a relationship with people. And you saw him realize that maybe there is something in this hero.
Yeah, but again, lest we
He
forget,
he built it out of self-service interest.
Exactly.
That's what
But
he does.
comes back.
He built
The
it
thing
out
is
of.
that he comes back. He realizes that these are my friends.
Yeah, he realized this
help.
put money in, comes back.
That's why he came
No,
back.
he never came back. He never came back for money though. Like he never got paid. He never got anything out of this.
Bullshit, because he took a share and paid off Jabba. He got his money. He took a share and paid off Jabba.
Well, he was about to, but
no, he didn't. He never got any money. He never got paid for anything he did in the original trilogy.
He got paid in the original trilogy.
What did he get paid for?
He got paid.
But the fact that he did get paid and he did come back, I think makes that arc even stronger, because he had no reason to come back other than the fact that these guys are my friends and they need my help. So it's time for me to buck up, be a hero, and go do the right thing.
It's because Luke's whining ass guilt tripped him into it. That's why. Again, with Han, if one thing, if he embraced the fact that he was a self-serving dick, like Emperor Palpatine.
But Han at the beginning of the movie would never have been guilt tripped.
But then we wouldn't have an arc now, would we?
He never been guilt tripped because he was all in it for himself. And I think by the end of the movie, he realizes that I am a hero. I am a rebel. And even during the sequel movies, like you see him see a difference between how he interacts with Princess Leia and the rebels. And even the last movie, you see that he has to actually take charge of the rebels. He's gone from
because literally in the time he was frozen, somehow he was named a general. Tell me how that makes one fucking lick of sense. Again,
I'm not.
His arc makes no sense.
His girlfriend
what was his rank in Empire? I need a fact.
Captain. He jumps 3 ranks in.
But the reason
frozen the whole time.
Well, I'm not arguing what arc makes more sense. I'm arguing what's the best character arc. As far as character arc, yeah, it doesn't make sense. But you totally buy it because Han Solo is a character who's through some shit. And even in Force Awakens, which you guys haven't brought up yet, when he's come back and he's grizzled and he's old and he's just like,
back to where he was.
He's lost his son.
He is literally back at square one, doing shit for himself, just to swindle people and make some money. I get it. But simultaneously, it's like
the dude lost his son. Where else is he gonna go? And as far as Han Solo, you understand that is his coping mechanism. I want to talk some more about Palpatine. Like I said, Palpatine. He's so obviously evil. That arc is so poorly done.
He owns it. That's the difference.
Yeah, Ian McDiarmid gives a good performance. He's playing it up, but that doesn't mean he has the best character arc.
Okay. Again, literally starting from the bottom, then literally because he just manages to whisper a few little things.
We haven't really seen him at the bottom. By the time we first see him, he's already a senator. He is literally 2 degrees away from getting absolute power.
Yeah,
there's not much to play off of there.
I mean, it didn't take that much. Chris, I will argue that it didn't take that long for him to manipulated his way to get the high seat.
He had been doing
that.
For
far more interesting if we think
he had been doing
as a low-level diplomat, then rise to complete power. We see, which are done. Years are done off screen.
Hold on. Robert just called time.
Yeah, we're calling time there for the main round. We're going to go into closing arguments. I can tell it's very heated. It's very passionate. There's high stakes. I understand. So let's get right into these closing arguments. We had Tim start. So Tim, with your closing arguments, go right ahead.
Okay. With the arc of Luke, you do see that rise of young, wet behind the ears to confidence, to believing in himself, to finally standing on his own feet, his own ground as I am who I am. And with Han, he is a self-serving jackass all the way through. Granted, yes, he becomes friends with certain people, but he is still self-serving to himself. For Palpatine, yes, he started from nothing, worked his way up, but he worked his way up pretty freaking fast, and his downfall, his own arrogance, is what kills him, because he believes he's all powerful, and guess what? No more legends telling of cloned bodies of the Emperor. He's dead. He failed miserably when he got to the top, and we saw the result of that.
Alrighty, a solid closing there by Tim, and we are going to go now to Chance. Wrap this up, man.
Skywalker, he goes from whiny dick to moron to stoic, boring hero. There's not much to him. Yeah, granted, we haven't seen Last Jedi, but even with what we have, I don't think that's quite enough to say it's the best character arc. Palpatine, all the interesting shit we could have seen, like him training with the Sith or him rising from like low-level diplomat to Emperor of the Galaxy, it happens off screen. Literally, all we just see him do is just like, please give me power, and that's it. And even in the original trilogy, he hasn't had that threatening a presence. Now, Han Solo, he starts as self-serving jackass. Then he goes to, ally and romantic interest. Then he goes to rebel leader. And then he goes to a man who is trying to get his son back. Han Solo is just for the better with every single Star Wars movie. The fact that even the fact that Harrison Ford, who's upwards, I think, like 70 years old, practically stealing the movie with Force Awakens just by doing such a good job with the Han Solo arc. So I think you're looking at all the character arcs in Star Wars history, Han Solo is going to be the one that's going to be looked at as the best.
Definitely a good closing there and a good pick there by Chance. And Chris, your closing argument when you're ready.
Okay. Everybody always goes to Darth Vader as being the greatest villain of Star Wars, and I will forever disagree, because Palpatine is infinitely more interesting as a villain.
Unlimited power.
Okay. I cut you off one time. Now you cut me off one time. Thank you, Chance. Okay.
You're welcome.
The reason that Palpatine is so much more interesting is simply because you have to ask yourself, how evil can one person truly be? This is the man who ordered the entire eradication of a religious order. This is the man who straight up lied to a man, telling him that his wife and unborn child were dead. This is a man who straight up murdered Jedi masters, seen as the guardians of peace and justice. And he did it with a smile on his face. Now, why does that make him such an interesting arc? Is because literally he starts off, because again, he's the greatest manipulator of all time, because he could trick you into thinking he is the sweetest, kindest, most giving person ever, as we even saw from the Clone Wars film. But turns out he truly was the one Sith to rule them all.
Alrighty, a good closing there by Chris.
I'd like to remind you, Robert's not judging, so playing to him won't make a difference.
That's true. I'm not the judge today. But I do have a couple fact-checking things to clear up. Harrison Ford's age was brought up there by Chance at the end. Harrison Ford is currently 75, so he was 73 when Force Awakens came out. We're asking if Han ever got paid. There is a conversation in New Hope where Luke says to Han, "You got your money and now you're going to run." Most people assume that means that Leia did pay Han for rescuing her, but Obi-Wan never paid Han for taking them to Alderaan.
Oh, sure, he never got paid. Think you ever brought that up?
There's also a question of Han's rank. In New Hope, Han is just a pilot. It's the same in Empire Strikes Back. But in Return of the Jedi, Han is a captain. So Chris was correct in that. But I just want to clear up that.
No. Sorry. Now I'm going to fact check you on this one. Literally, repeatedly, 3PO calls Han Captain Solo in The Empire Strikes Back, and then General Madine literally looks at Han dead in the eye and says, General Solo, is your strike team assembled? Leia reacts, General, count me in.
That's right.
All right, well, I'm going to take Chris's word over Google's because I trust Chris more than Google when it comes to Star Wars things. So Chris is right. Henry, we're going to let you take the judging on this round.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Henry, just give Chance the point.
So speaking of Chris being right, I'm gonna end that there because he wasn't for this round. It was between Tim and Chance, and Tim came out the gate swinging. He went from adolescence to learning the Force, tempted by the dark, to being confident and fully becoming a Jedi and defeating the Emperor or the Empire. And then you have Han. He went from a rebel leader. He was denying the Force to to I'm a believer and all that stuff. This one was tough, and I think I'm gonna go. A scene that I heard I liked the most was from Chance. He said Han's arc was so good that it practically stole the entire Force Awakens movie, which that was a dagger right there. And I was thoroughly impressed with that someone's arc can actually steal a movie when he was technically a side character. That was impressive. And Chance, you got the point. Good thing you didn't joke answer this one because you got the point.
Yep. Yeah, thank God.
Great job there, Chance.
I just want to say one thing real quick, Robert.
Yeah, go ahead.
As Henry showed me an idea early of how to have them fight against each other, I really thought that was going to work differently in that round, so I didn't have to go to another speed round.
Yeah, tonight has just been a night of speed rounds for you, man. But you've done well in them earlier tonight. We do only have one.
Hey, you're 2-0.
Yeah.
2-0.
May the Force be with you.
We do have one speed round question. This is going to come down to Tim versus Doman. This isn't for any points. This is to see who is going to fight the final question with Chance. So you guys are going to need to shout out your answers, and just like a normal speed round, we've seen how they work. Let's get ready for this one. So here's the question. Besides the Millennium Falcon, what is the best vehicle in the Star Wars universe?
X-Wing.
Let's go AT-AT.
Alrighty, X-Wing from Chris, AT-AT from Tim. Definitely some good picks. Chris, you're going to have 30 seconds on the clock, and whenever you are ready, go ahead.
The Incom 265 X-Wing is a fighter that is absolutely perfect in design. It is made for absolutely fantastic aerodynamics. It is equipped with the kind of lasers that can blast right through an AT-AT's shield. Ergo, frankly speaking, it wins the fight no matter what. And it also is much more maneuverable than AT-AT, and it much more classy. Basically, the X-Wing is kind of like the Corvette of the Star Wars galaxy.
Time right there. Alrighty. All right. We're going to go over to Tim for 30 seconds on the all-terrain armored transport.
Okay, AT-ATs are basically just gigantic tanks. It'll take you some time to get an X-Wing in the air to be able to take out an AT-AT, but until then, that sucker's clearing land, soldiers, troops, what have you, until you stop it. Regular blasters or heavy blasters, like you've seen in other battles like Hoth, is going to stop that thing. That thing is a walking, just death machine. And I'm going to stop there.
And time right there. Okay. 15 seconds. Back to Doman. Let's see what you can do, Chris.
Again, as we see in Rogue One, the AT-AT is not as strong as you might think. An X-Wing can rip right through it, and frankly speaking, like I said, it's a much more faster, it's a much more convenient means of transportation.
And time right there. Okay. Tim, what do you have? Your last 15 seconds. Make them count, man.
All right. With an AT-AT, it still will get a lot of destruction in before an X-Wing can even get there. Those things will clear past, they will clear down and mow down troops. You've seen that
right there. Alrighty, this is not an easy one to call for me. I'm going to throw it over to Henry. Henry, if you need my input, I'll happily give it like we did last time, but it's up to you, man.
So the opening 30 seconds was close between both competitors. I think Doman had the edge on him, so it went down to the closing. And Doman said that it was shown in Rogue One that they're not as strong as you might think they were. And Tim, unfortunately, wasn't able to really counteract anything, and he just retreaded his whole statement in his second 15 seconds. So unfortunately for Tim, I'm going to go with Doman on this, moving on to the final.
Yep.
Alrighty. Extremely well thought, though, Tim. Seriously, this entire night, you fought your way through speedrun after speedrun. Great job, Tim.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Thank you for having me, guys. I mean, it's been fun. Yeah, this is gonna. Online you can find me over at the Schmoes Bros Facebook channel, on YouTube at TM Smith Reactions, which I host TV Trivia Throwdown. You can catch that every week. We are heading into our last 2 qualifiers to hit our tournament, and that's where you can catch me. But I do want to say to my competitors here, Chance, Chris, freaking Titans here. You guys have proved this all the way here. But, Chris, my money's on my bro, Chance. Chance, bring it home, kid.
I'm going to try.
All right.
No, I'm not going to try. I'm going to do it.
Tim, you're
There
welcome.
is no try.
Watch the rest of this. I'm assuming you at least mute your mic if that's all right.
I have a question. Would is the Death Star, is that considered a vehicle?
I'm gonna say no.
No.
It's more of a
No,
okay.
I mean, you
It's
can
no
drive
mode.
it, but it's more like a
It's no
satellite.
mode.
Okay, I'm just curious. I was wondering.
Technically, yes, but it's more of a base than
Well, it's its own space station, isn't it?
yeah, it's a station.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
it's kinda like a
That's
like
no
a satellite.
space station.
Alrighty, so here it is. Chance versus Chris. The final question. We're gonna have you guys pick your answers just like a speed round, right? So you're gonna have to shout out your answer, but then we're gonna fight it like a normal round with our open forum and then closing. Understood?
Yeah.
All of the scores have been thrown out the window. You'll get them added to your statistics, but this one question is going to determine the winner. All right?
Okay.
Here goes. Besides Empire Strikes Back, what's the best Star Wars movie?
A New Hope.
Star Wars.
I heard Star Wars first before New Hope. What about you, Robert?
I heard A New Hope from Chris before I heard Star Wars.
Shit.
Chance.
You're the host. That's your decision, but I was letting you know what I thought.
I feel like it was really damn close. If it's so, Tim, which one did you hear first? If you heard one over the other.
I heard, honestly, Star Wars first, but it didn't classify which one.
Well, Star Wars is the
Well, Star Wars. I meant Star Wars, not like A New Hope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand what you meant. All right, that's fair, Tim. So in that case, Chris, if that's all right with you, I'm gonna accept that. We're gonna give A New Hope to Chance, and then you're
Son
gonna
of a
pick.
bitch. I definitely said it before I did, but okay, fine.
If you'd prefer, I can go flip a coin. I'm fine with that too.
Nope, give it to him.
There's plenty of other good options to still fight for, in my opinion, at least.
Phantom Menace, the Ewoks,
Clone Wars.
Christmas Story.
Oh, it's a Christmas special.
Yeah.
If you fight for Life Day, I will respect you for my
Force
entire life.
Awakens.
Force Awakens. That's the one I was thinking of.
I figured.
That's what I was thinking of. All right.
All right.
I'm really pissed it comes down to this because it means I wrote a literally 1,000 word pitch for nothing.
Yep.
That was not my decision. That one was not my decision.
Yeah, we knew you
that's
did,
fine.
so we are like, we're not going to do that one.
So with that,
All right,
Chance,
let's do this, guys.
Chance, we're gonna do your opening arguments first. Keep in mind, we're gonna give you guys probably 6 minutes of open forum, just because this is the final question. So get your arguments set now in your opening, so that you can just do a wrap up in your closing without getting additional points in. Chance, when you're ready.
Okay, so in 1977, George Lucas decided to make, well, he didn't make it in 1977, but he released in 1977. He released a movie called Star Wars, and it came out and it changed the game. Not only was it was unlike anything anybody had ever seen, it was revolutionary for the time, and even now it stands as a time as being, you can take Empire Strikes Back. but I still would argue that this is the best Star Wars movie. This set everything in motion. Everything you know as Star Wars to be started in this movie. Without A New Hope or Star Wars, as I'll alternate calling it, you wouldn't have an Empire Strikes Back. You wouldn't have Return of the Jedi. You wouldn't have Rogue One, Force Awakens. Everything set everything in motion. It was a pioneer for the time, and it still holds up to this very day. It's not just one of the greatest sci-fi movies of all time, one of the greatest movies of all time.
Already strong there from Chance. And Chris with The Force Awakens. What do you think, man?
It's a shame you couldn't let me argue for Empire, but oh well. So in 2015, J.J. Abrams and Lucasfilm released a film that would essentially be the wake-up call that Star Wars fans never thought they were actually going to get. They thought that they were going to get another cheap shill of a Star Wars flick that was just going to be a prequel era stink fest because, remember, the prequels automatically suck because they weren't the original trilogy. However, they released a film that already has inspired so much of the culture, that has had such a lasting influence, just as much, if not more so, than the original Star Wars on the current climate.
Alrighty, definitely an interesting perspective by both fighters here. We're going to give you some decent open forum time. I'm probably going to go in between 5.5 and 6 minutes. So when you guys start talking, the floor is yours.
I don't know. Should I bother?
This is a hard question because this is a hard question because essentially you and I are fighting for the same movie. I had to get that dig out of the way first. I mean, yeah, Force Awakens. It's a fun film. It's a good start of this new franchise. But literally, people point out for years, every major plot point, every major story idea, it gets from New Hope. The movie owes most everything it has good to my movie. I mean, yeah, it doesn't.
Okay, and I'm going to shoot you down right now because what is everything that Star Wars itself did? It took from Buck Rogers, it took from Flash Gordon, it took from 2001, it took from so many other different areas of sci-fi and fantasy that literally whatever you want to try to throw towards Force Awakens, I can dish it right back because I can always go something older for Star Wars, and I can go even older for those influences. I can go older for those influences.
Okay, but that doesn't mean Force Awakens didn't do it. That doesn't acquit you of the crime. Yeah, like mine did borrow from stuff too, but like it still had an original feel to it. Well, I suppose Force Awakens, where it's another Death Star, it's another trench run, it's another old mentor dying, and yeah, it's fun, but. When is Star Wars at its best? It's at its best when it has
sure, fun. Yes, it's very fun. But here's the thing: the first film, the first Star Wars, as much as everybody loves it, and I love it especially, it's not complex. It is stupid simple. Literally, a 2-year-old can watch it.
Your movie.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Okay, no.
How is yours complex?
Force Awakens is incredibly complex because you have Rey, who actually goes through her own incredible arc of. She's just there by herself. She's just trying to take care of herself, but then literally she goes on an adventure and she winds up becoming part of something that's much bigger than she ever thought she could do.
Luke does the exact same thing.
Difference is, though, Luke is a whiny little bitch.
He's a man.
Rey can take care of herself. She can fight.
Yeah, because they knew to fix that because of what happened in The New Hope.
Oh yeah,
okay, I know.
That's right. And I forgot. Rey's a Mary Sue. I better shut up now.
I wasn't gonna pull out the Mary Sue argument, but you brought it up, not me. Look at the time it came out.
And Luke is not a Mary Sue. Luke is one of the most bland heroes of all time. Luke is literally in the first film. In the first film. Until you did. Luke, you can literally. Luke is just an empty vessel for you to put yourself into, kind of like Neo from the Matrix, kind of like Harry Potter in the Harry Potter films. Luke is just somebody for you to enter this world through and pretend to put yourself in there so that you can hold a lightsaber, block the training remote a couple times, and then move on with your day as you blow up the Death Star.
Okay, well, I want to talk about my movie because, look at the time it came out. This movie came out in 1977. It was very topical for the time because the fact you had, the villain who was called the Empire, and this is at the stage where America was becoming an empire. That was a huge thing back then. And I think Star Wars at its best when it was actually trying to say something else, because you say New Hope is not complex. It is because of the whole empire aspect and the fact that, yeah, you know what, if we keep going like this could happen to us. There's so much more on the table.
I will argue
below
that's
the surface of New
I will
Hope.
argue that is your personal reading into it, because George Lucas himself has said that the movie was just it was a way for people to escape away from what other movies were trying to be at the time, like Chinatown,
But also,
like Dog Day Afternoon, like Serpico.
I do want to bring up also how, because okay, this is a story from also behind the scenes. He screened this early to producers and some of his director friends, and people thought it was going to be the biggest piece of shit ever to be released on screen. And the fact that it came out and was a revolution for the time shows that how good this movie was. This resonated with everybody. I mean, if you just for inflation, is one of the highest grossing films of all time. This literally started a pop culture revolution, which Force Awakens, it reignited it, but New Hope started it.
Sure, and you want to piggyback off that. Literally, before 2012, before Disney bought Lucasfilm, Star Wars was dead. It was dead. It was struggling to get by on Cartoon Network.
And that wasn't my movie's fault. That was the prequel's fault. Back to life. The prequel killed it, and then you brought it back to life. So both our movies brought this franchise back to life. So I feel like that that doesn't mean anything. I feel like in the eyes of fans in the general movie going public, yours is kind of damaging to the Star Wars franchise, because a lot of people see it as the beginning of Star Wars not having original ideas. I don't see it that way, but if you look at like the comments of like any like video relating to Force Awakens, J.J. Abrams, you'll see how people keep saying like it's a retread, it's original, it's in the prequel, the worst Star Wars movie of all time. Yours is damaging. Yours damaging the franchise in the eyes of like general moviegoers. As far as were mine when it came out. I mean, yeah, like you didn't have anything compared to, because it was so original and so revolutionary for the time that no one had ever done anything quite like it.
Okay, now here's the other difference between yours and mine nowadays. Mine has shit ton better acting than New Hope does. Mark Hamill sadly didn't give the greatest performance. Carrie Fisher with the disappearing, reappearing accent makes no fucking sense.
You also have You have James Earl Jones, who just is a during voice. You have Alec Guinness, who got a freaking Oscar nomination. You cannot tell me that there's all the acting in the movie's bad. Peter Cushing, who was in this movie for like maybe 3 or 4 scenes. Yeah,
but I'm saying
you have Adam Driver, who is so whiny and so goth.
No. This isn't hating episode 2 kind of whiny. No, he's not whiny. This is genuinely complex.
He keeps constant temper tantrums. That's the definition of whiny.
That's the writing. Which, by the way, don't act like all the characters were necessarily that well written in New Hope either.
Not saying they are, but
time right there on that one. We're 6 minutes even. Calling time there. We still have closing arguments. You guys are showing that you are passionate fans here for all of the right reasons. Honestly, this is so.
Oh, it doesn't fucking matter. I'm losing anyway.
I mean, like, don't give up.
Hey, don't get yourself out yet. Don't get yourself out yet. We still have closings.
Yeah, it's not over. Like, all right, Chance, go ahead with your closing.
New Hope is the first one. It's revolutionary. It holds up even to this day. The fact that this nearly 40-year-old movie can still resonate with the old and the new kids who this is their favorite Star Wars movie. Like it's multi-generational. It's multicultural. This literally started a pop culture revolution. It started a franchise revolution in the game of movie making. And yeah, well, Force Awakens, it is a fun film. It is sort of a retread, and it had a lot of interesting ideas. It doesn't follow through, and it doesn't feel like a complete meal. My movie has although it is the first part of a trilogy, it has a beginning, middle, and end. It's self-contained. You can watch this movie and you can be off just fine. Whereas Force Awakens, you do watch it and you do want more, but that's all. But you do want more, but that's not always the best part of the movie. And the fact that it does rehash a lot of stuff is also a detriment to that movie.
All right, I've been closing there from Chance. Chris, you got this closing argument. You can make it count, man.
Okay. So clearly, yes, your movie was not necessarily meant to be the first chapter of a trilogy, hence why it has a beginning, a middle, and end. And that's why it's rushed. From no matter how you look at it, technically speaking, as fantastic as the effects are, as fantastic as the score is, there's a reason that the characters kind of feel a little one-dimensional in the first film because Lucas didn't know if he was going to make it to the next film or not. Force Awakens works much better in those regards because here, obviously, yeah, we knew it was going to do incredibly well in the theaters. Hence why they went out of their way to give us a well-crafted, complex, all over the place story with characters that have multiple sides to their personality, characters that you identify with instantly. And once again, to come back to the cultural impact, little girls now look up to Rey as their new role model, as they should, because she is an amazing role model for these kids to have. They look at Finn and Poe. Whether or not they're a gay couple, I don't fucking care. But you know what? The LGBTQ community loves them. And I hope to God that they continue to keep loving them. And maybe something will happen between them. And they could be the first openly gay couple in Star Wars because they got introduced in The Force Awakens. And it would be amazing. Plus, one final thing. To me, it's more impressive when you have a dead franchise and you actually manage to bring it back to a pretty much. I'm not going to bullshit here. Force Awakens is the best Star Wars film since Empire Strikes Back. I have not seen The Last Jedi yet, so I hope I can take that statement back after this weekend. But as of this moment, it did something that no other Star Wars film has done, and that is even come close to the quality of The Empire Strikes Back.
Alrighty, a strong closing there by both of you guys. Again,
Done.
nobody can take.
Give some right here.
Yeah, nobody can take anything away from either of you guys. That much has got to be said. Henry, if you want to talk, I have my opinion. You can lean on me if you want. Once again, you are the judge here, but as the host, I do think that my opinion counts for something, maybe. But that's just me.
Well, to fully justify my ruling, I'm just going to read my notes, just so you guys all understand. Chance, it holds up. The story is a metaphor for the world of potential rise of evil. It's one of the highest grossing movies. It actually has an acting nomination, and it's a self-contained story. He countered that I only did it once, but it's a rehash of episode 4 for The Force Awakens, so I only counted that once. It damaged the initial concept of an original idea later on because it proves that, I wouldn't say that's necessarily the same thing as a rehash. It's a different concept, and then it has a whiny villain in Kylo Ren. So in comparison to Vader, it's less. Doman, on the other hand, says The Force Awakens had to overshadow the prequels, so it had a bigger hill to climb, and it did a great job of that. Rey was a lot stronger in comparison to Luke as a main character right out the gate. Overall, it had better acting. Overall, not just the nomination. Rey is a role model for girls, and that he said that this is the closest in overall quality to Empire. And his counter is that Star Wars is not totally original because it's influenced by other science fiction movies. It has a simple story. Luke is very bland. I don't remember what that is. And then that the story is rushed and one-dimensional because he didn't have the confidence in the overall picture. So in a sense, he got lucky. So I want to hear what Robert has to say before I give my full opinion. But that was just my notes.
So obviously my ruling here is not the be-all end-all. I'm just your host for tonight. But personally, this was one of the closest matches I've ever hosted, ever judged ever. This was so incredibly close. You guys are both extremely passionate. I leaned just a hair after the closing to Chris. He reiterated what he was saying as far as everybody can relate to Force Awakens just as much as they did in 1977. I think that was a great point that he made in the closing. I think the main round, Chance was winning a little bit, but then I think in Chance's closing, he repeated the rehashing argument just a little bit too much. But once again, I support either one of these guys winning because they're both incredible fighters and they know their stuff, and it's been proven tonight.
All right, so to give my answer, Chance, I gave him a score of 11, and Doman 15. And I'm going to knock Doman a little bit because he wasn't as confident, but not too much to take away the win. And I am going to give the surprising win to Doman for The Force Awakens.
But hey, Chance, Come on, bro.
Yeah.
All right, well
Yeah.
played, both of you guys. Seriously.
Why couldn't this come down to the pitch question? I had a good one.
Well,
So did I. I had a
Well,
great pitch.
maybe one day we'll have deleted scenes of all the questions we didn't use. But before we start talking and going down that rabbit hole, I think we have to end off here real quick. Chance, where can the people find you online?
Find me on Twitter and Instagram at ChanceWars91. There'll be trivia. I'm there all the time. My show, Full Metal Trivia, and also my YouTube channel, Chance the Critic, on YouTube.
Awesome, awesome. And I hope people really go check that out because Chance, you're an amazing guy. You know your stuff, and you were really passionate in all these fights tonight. Chris, what about you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at my band Last Shot Redemption at LSAR Bandman. You guys can follow my YouTube channel Take Two Productions on Twitter and Instagram at Take Two Trivia. Speaking of, please check out Take Two Productions, the YouTube channel where I host a Star Wars podcast called Knights of the Podcast. And you guys can find me on Letterboxd and Stardust at Chris Take 3.
Alrighty, awesome job. And you can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at RBRTPRKR98. It's my first and last name without vowels, plus a year. I had so much fun here tonight. I just wanted to say, on behalf of all the Movie Battleground admins, thank you all of our competitors here tonight. All 5 people did a great job. They really showed that they do know their stuff. We admins would like to thank Henry for stepping in as our special guest judge tonight. Henry, where can people find you online?
Dial In for Movies, my own personal channel. We have a combined channel where Take 3 and Dial M made our own one trivia league, so the Worldwide Movie Games, because that's where we're also going to find this. Potentially, this actual match might be the debut for that. You never know. But until then, you'll see future Movie Battlegrounds over on the Worldwide Movie Games Network, and then just go ahead and join the Worldwide Movie Games Worldwide Movie Game Network Facebook page. And also comment below and let me know how I did on my judging, because that's important to me. I want to make sure I judge fairly and unbiasedly, especially because I'm #1 in this league and I'm the best. So I just want to prove that it's unbiased.
Alrighty. And I would just also like to reiterate that please like and comment and subscribe to both this channel and to the Worldwide Movie Games Network channel. In the near future, all Movie Battleground matches will be on that channel, as well as you can also catch some other great movie content over there, as far as some Full Metal trivia will be over there. There will be trivia teams and singles. Really just some awesome content. Make sure you join the Worldwide Movie Games Network Facebook page. Make sure you join the Movie Battleground Facebook page. And make sure you show all of our competitors, all of our admins some love. From all of us here at Movie Battleground, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching. I know this is a long video. If you haven't seen part 1, make sure you check that out as well. I'm Robert Parker. Thank you, and have a wonderful rest of your night. Thank you.